Hey, what is going on, guys? DK. Back at you with another video here. It's bringing the showdown slate between the LA Clippers and the Phoenix Suns. And we got a possible closeout scenario here in Game 5 if the Suns do end up pulling out the W. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome. My name is DK. I make daily videos and live stream for NBA and NFL slates on Draftkings. I'm also making videos for PGA, Daily Fantasy Sports, and NBA Top Shot. If you are unable to watch his YouTube videos, also upload on Apple Podcasts. Link down below. It's called the DKDFS show. And if you could take a minute or two out of your day, leave a 5-star rating and review. That would go a long way. Helps me out a ton. Every single rating or review boosts me up in those podcast rankings. If you're interested in signing up for premium content, I offer that on Patreon.com. Also, link down below. An NBA package where we'll have breakdowns for all the showdown slates as well as the 2-game slates, the 2-day slates, right? So it's like the Sunday, Monday, Saturday, Sunday, those slates I have breakdowns for on Patreon. And then if you sign up for NBA package, you also get the PGA, those data, golf data sheets for free, which I've shown in my PGA Daily Fantasy Sports videos. And then I do offer an esports package as well. It includes Call of Duty CSGO. Again, CSGO, we got slates every single day. If you like a morning sweat, try it out, right? It's fun. There's a lot of variance involved, so I don't go crazy on esports, but it is kind of nice to have a morning sweat. Again, the slates are usually pretty early, like ranging anywhere from start time to like 5 a.m. to like 10 a.m. So, yeah, if you guys want to try it out, again, link down below. And finally, I want to thank Prize Picks for sponsoring this episode. So, a couple different ways you can play Prize Picks, guys. Number one is for NBA, you just take over under fantasy points in general. So they will post players and their fantasy scores, and you take over under. So Devin Booker right now projected for 39.5 fantasy points. You at the under, did the over. Now he's really been struggling lately, but even so, that kind of feels about right for him. Based on with Chris Paul back, obviously he has a little bit of a lower floor, right? He won't handle the ball as much. But yeah, they have a ton of different players posted for tomorrow's game, and they also have, you can also take over under and just flat out, points, assists, rebounders, 3-pointers made. So, Paul George, 29.5 real life points, under, over, right? That is basically the idea. You can mix and match sports as well. Again, I like it. It's a nice change of pace from DraftKings. So if you guys want to try it out, you can sign up. Use the code DKDFS. DKDFS, all one word, link in the description below. You'll get a 100% match up to $100. So basically, if you put the maximum $100 in, you get a free $100 to play with, or $200 in total. And I do want to thank you guys for your continued support on these videos and the live streams. I know NBA is winding down, but like I mentioned a couple times, we still have more basketball coming up here. Obviously, finish up the rest of the NBA season, but we got Olympics, hoping DraftKings will have contests for. I know they'll have contests for Summer League, and I'm pretty sure they're going to have stuff for the basketball tournament as well, which is coming up soon. It's a lot of exciting stuff, and obviously NFL too, only a couple months away. So if you guys do enjoy all this content, if you could, leave a like button on the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload videos, and you know when I go live. As always, I'll be doing a YouTube live stream before live to go over everything and answer all your guys' questions. So make sure to check it out, guys, and let's try to aim for 100 likes on this video. All right. So before we talk about players and the prices for the show and slate, we can quickly look back lineup here from Sunday's slate. So Sunday went pretty well. Again, I've been taking it easy. Haven't been playing a ton in just the show and slate, the small 2-gamers, but this is just the big $20 tournament, 105K to first. I finished in the top 1,000, finished 780th. I told you guys exactly where I was going on Patreon, playing Bobby Portis and the captain. Kind of the team GM approach. I wanted to play all 4 of those stars of Giannis, Trey, Middleton, Drew Holiday. Now, Middleton was pretty low owned, right? But after back-to-back, he had the first game 1, awful shooting game. Game 2, obviously, was the blowout. So he came in at like almost 30% lower ownership than Drew Holiday, which I thought was kind of crazy because for me, it was basically a coin flip with those 2 guys. And Middleton, again, came in at way, way lower ownership. I just ended up playing both because it's always a tough call with those 2. Really, like, normally one of those guys goes off, but, like, it's really hard to try to predict. I joked about it, like, in the first series was all Drew Holiday, and the series against the Nets was all Middleton. I was feeling like it was going to be a Drew Holiday series, but then Middleton bounced back with a massive game tonight, so it's like, I just never know what to do with those 2 when they're close in price. It is always a tough call. And Lou Williams was my last piece filler in at 1.8K. He was pretty solid, 14 fancy points. So all in all, went pretty well for me. Hope you guys had a good night as well. I know some of you went with the same lineup with Bobby Portis and the captain. Yeah, love Bobby Portis. Free Bobby Portis, as I've been saying for years now, and he's starting to get freed. I think he should play more, honestly, but the reason he doesn't is more on the defensive end. But yeah, he is just such a good point per minute guy when he's out there. All right, so with the Clippers Suns, and it's Game 5, do or die time now for the Clippers on the road. 214.5 over under. Suns 5.5 point favorites. So we'll start off with the LA Clippers, and I don't see a way in fading Paul George. And can we just 9 of 26, 5 of 20. 59, 55 fantasy points. Let's go back to Prize Picks. What's Paul George at? Fantasy score, 53.5. If this game's as competitive, I think you got to go over, right? He's had back-to-back awful shooting games and has still gone for 50-plus fantasy points. So I'm really high on Paul George. I think he is probably the safest bet up on the board. Now, Reggie Jackson, the prices come up on him now. 8.6K. Should get close to 40 minutes. Should get a ton of shot attempts up. But the price has jumped, right? He was in the 7K range, now he's at 8.6, so definitely a decent play in the mid-range, but he's not a priority play for me. I will say, though, he should get some ownership, and he again, has to be the number 2 on offense for the LA Clippers, and had a bad shooting game last game, but if he shoots well, we've seen some upside from Reggie Jackson, right? We saw a 50 bomb from him in, Game 7 there against Utah, so I do have some interest in Reggie. However, the prices come up a little bit on him. Now, the prices come up a lot on Zubac, as it should. Finally, now priced, I guess, close to right. 34, 33, 40 minutes last game for Zubac. We know, oh, shit. All right, so yeah, with Zubac, again, 34, 33, 40 minutes the last 3 games. He is a guy that is a good point per minute guy, has gone for a double-double the last 3 games. I'm assuming he's going to continue to start. This actually helps Ayton on the other end, too, who we'll get to. So I think Zubac is a very safe play in the mid-range. Still probably a little bit underpriced if he's going to play close to 40 minutes. So, yeah, I do like Zubac there a good amount. Terrence Mann at 5'8", surprisingly came off the bench last game. Did still play 33 minutes, though. My guess is he gets similar run, right? Marcus Morris dealing with knee injury. They just don't seem to want to play Batum a lot of minutes in this series. So I think Mann gets around 30 minutes. Now, the price did come up to 5.8K. Still in play, but feels a little bit pricey. So I don't love Terrence Mann on this one. And Batum, for some reason, he's just not getting minutes. 16, 15, 16 minutes. They just don't want to play Nick Batum a lot. So I have a hard time getting to him at 5K. Now, Marcus Morris at 4.4, a little bit more in play here. I know, the knee, obviously the knee has been hurting him. 21, 25, 24, 22 minutes so far. We should get, again, I would guess similar minutes, low to mid-20s. At 4.4, though, it's at a price point where it's like, okay, I'm willing to consider him now, right? He was at like 7, 8K to start. I was like, there's no way, right? Now he's dropped to low 4K range. I think Marcus Morris is in play, and maybe if he plays well, he could get extended to 30-plus minutes like we saw in the previous couple series. And then Pat Beverly at 3.2. So, with Pat Beverly, he's not a great point per minute guy, but the minutes have been great for him. 26, 27, and 34 minutes the last 3 games. Now, sure, only had 10 fantasy points last game, but I think Pat Beverly is a pretty safe value play. I think he should get at least 25 minutes. And then, yeah, Kennard at 2.8 did only play 13 minutes last game. I think normally we hover in the 15 to 20 minute range for him. Obviously, he's super reliant on the scoring, but not out of play. And if he comes out and shoots well, they could extend him. They've closed him a couple times. So I do have some interest in Kennard. Definitely a riskier value play. Rondo got a DNP last game. I don't think he plays again in this series, but you never know. And that's really it. Like Cousins, probably not going to play. So let's move on to the Phoenix Suns. And the Phoenix Suns, Booker, Paul, Ayton at the top. So Devin Booker has really struggled the last 3 games here. 29 fantasy points the last 3 games. He has not shot well. Beverly has been doing a pretty good job on the defensive end. And with Chris Paul in this lineup, this is what I get concerned about. The peripherals go down on Booker. 2 boards, 0 assists last game. That was it. So what this is going to do, though, is Booker's going to be pretty low owned. And the upside is still there. Like, it is still there with Chris Paul in lineup. It's just the floor is lower. So kind of like Booker's going to try an option, just because I know he's going to be pretty low owned on the showdown slate and still possesses an upside, but hard to feel confident in him right now. Now, Chris Paul at 10.6K, I think, is still a safer option. He, like Booker, has really struggled shooting. 5 of 19, 6 of 22 last couple games. he still put up decent fantasy scores, 43 and 33, with just awful shooting game. And can we just talk about how ugly that last game was? That fourth quarter was so brutal to watch. 84 to 80, no one could hit a shot. Obviously, both we're most likely not going to get a 164 total game tomorrow. So should be more points scored. I think Chris Paul is still a pretty safe option. Don't think he continues to shoot this bad. So I do like Chris Paul. I think I prefer him to Devin Booker. I think he's a little bit safer. DeAndre Ayton has been phenomenal. He just went for 61 fantasy points last game. Again, with Zubac out there, it actually helps DeAndre Ayton. He had 4 blocks and a steal last game as well. I think he's a pretty solid play. I do think he's going to be very popular, possibly a little bit over-owned because of the 61 fantasy points last game. Ayton can still go out and get you 25 to 30 fantasy points. We've seen that from him in big minutes, so the floor is still there with him. But I do think he is, at 9.2K, still a pretty safe play because of the minutes and a guy that is going to be popular. I think it's for good reason, but I think you could make the argument to fade him in tournaments for sure. Now, Bridges and Crowder, they just feel a little bit pricey, right? 7.6 for Bridges. I don't love it. I don't love it. Let's see, once this loads up. If it's going to load up. Maybe not. Let's see, striker and Crowder. Okay, well, there we go. Let's go back to Bridges. So, he had an outlier game as far as rebounds, 13 rebounders. Again, definitely an outlier. He's just kind of been an afterthought on the offensive end. Now, he's a good defender, and the minutes should still be there for him. So, not out of play, but, he's too close in price to guys like Reggie, DeAndre Ayton, right? I'm just gonna prefer those guys all day long. Kind of same with Crowder at 7K, and they're more expensive than Zubac too. That doesn't make a ton of sense. So Crowder, Bridges, right now more contrarian options. The minutes are there, and there's still upside with them. We've seen a couple 40 fantasy point games from Crowder and Bridges, but they have to knock down their threes. Right now, both kind of struggling shooting the ball, so hard for me to get super excited about either of those wings at their respective prices. Cam Payne at 6.2 should get around 20 minutes. With Chris Paul back, obviously the minutes drop big time. And once this loads up again, sorry, it's taken a while to load up here. He shot 2 of 8 last game. He's definitely a decent fantasy point per minute guy. So could he get it done in 15 to 20 minutes on the bench? Sure. Again, though, more of a contrarian play. I don't think he's going to play big minutes unless something happens to one of the guards, like foul trouble or something. Cam Johnson, minutes went way down on him. Again, finally, we had everyone kind of healthy and no early foul trouble. So normally we're going to get about 15 to 20 minutes off the bench for Cam Johnson, which makes him in play, but doesn't really stand out at 4K. Dario Saric at 1.8, I think is in play for some salary relief. Should get around 10 minutes. Is a decent point per minute guy. A guy who can knock down some threes. So I do have some interest in Saric here, but obviously a riskier play because he's not going to play a ton of minutes. And that's really it. Nader played 5 minutes off the bench. Torrey Craig actually got a DNP last game, so I'm probably not going to either of those guys. One of those guys might play a couple of minutes, but not enough for me to consider him. So that is going to do it for the roster construction video, or that is going to do it for the video today, guys. If you haven't enjoyed the content so far, I would really appreciate it if you have a like button on the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you don't upload videos and you don't want to go live. Thanks again. Have a great night, guys, and I'll see you all tomorrow in the live stream.